we're going to go a little deeper. And we just saw that a wallet is connected. We saw that that connect wallet button works, but maybe we want to do a little more with it. Now, in this documentation, there's a few suggestions for how to get started. You can always start a brand new project following the steps in the lesson we just looked at. Or you can use the Mesh starter template. And so this lesson says, for this one, let's use the starter template. And so just to show you method number 2, which we haven't worked on together yet, let's take a different approach. All right, so back in my browser, excuse me, back in VS Code, I'm going to stop this development server. And I'm going to move up one directory back to lesson 101.1. I guess I could have called this module 101. And I want to make another project right next to Mesh App 1. Let's close these files for now. We see we've already got this directory, Mesh App 1. And now if I use this command right here, we're going to create another project that's called Mesh PBL Module 101. We're once again going to use the starter template, and the TS right here is for TypeScript. You don't have to use TypeScript, but it does make a lot of things easier. So let's see what happens if I run this command. Okay, so we even had a timer running, right? It took 30 seconds to get that done, but that just did everything we did in the previous lesson. So we did it all by hand a moment ago, but in 30 seconds, you can have a similar project up and running, okay? These two directories, they look pretty similar. Okay? The package JSON file in the new one we just made already has Mesh installed. Although, look, this is a little bit out of date, so we might actually want to upgrade those. And the next version is not the latest, okay? So we could talk about which approach is better. If you want the latest, you might want to follow the steps I just showed you in lesson 1, where we had next 14.1 and newer versions of Mesh and Mesh React. But if you want to get started very quickly and easily, this template is provided. So always trade-offs, right? And you can see that development of these templates takes maintenance. And that's the kind of maintenance that we want to start supporting a network of people to contribute to, okay? It's one thing to make a template for the first time, but it takes a lot of time, attention, and energy to make sure that it's really kept up to date over time. Just because we haven't used it yet, what if we switch over to that new template that we just installed? Okay, that was the second one, Mesh PBL Module 101. This one, it looks like it used Yarn under the hood, so I'm going to use that as well. Just make sure we're up to date. And then let's try running this. Oh yeah, and hold on. I want to be running on port. Let's just use port 3001 again. All right, yeah, now we're running on port 3001. Let's jump over here again. And this is kind of nice to see. This is what the Mesh template looks like out of the box, right? So instead of starting our own Next.js project and then adding Mesh to it, if you use a Mesh template, you get some nice formatting. You get a different connect wallet button. And when I connect this wallet, the result is the same. You can see my test ADA, and then there's some nice links that take you to the Mesh website. And so you could start from either one of these, okay? But yeah, it took 30 seconds to get this up and running, and now we can start building within it. So what are we being asked to do here? Well, we connected the wallet already, but it's not that exciting. All I can do is I can see my balance, and really that doesn't change my life because I can see my balance up here. There it is. Oh, wait a minute. This is different from this. Anybody know why? Says I got 488.67 test data here.
I guess that's the token, the ADA that are locked with the tokens, but I'm not sure.
I actually don't know whether it's collateral or min UTXOs or a little bit of both. But it's kind of interesting that NAMI expresses an opinion about whether or not it should even report that value, whereas Mesh is showing us the entire balance of this address.
I guess it's both because of the difference. Collateral would be only 5, and that's more than 5.
Right, 5 and change. Hmm. Always some surprises to find. I'm glad we're doing this. So we want to see a little more than that balance, whatever it is, 488 or 495. So what we're going to do is we're going to jump back into VS Code and follow these steps right here. Let's take a look. All right. First, what I don't yet have is a components directory. You can see I've got a pages and a styles directory. But what I'd like to be able to see is components. So there's a guide for how to do this. I'm going to stop my server, make a new directory called components, change into it, and then make a new file called my wallet component. Then I'm going to open that file. Here it is. And provided in the course is some boilerplate that you can copy and paste directly into your editor. So what do we have here? Well, a few things. First of all, we can see that we're using our first hook. This is the use wallet hook. It's imported not from Mesh SDK Core, but from Mesh SDK React. And it's going to make a couple of things easier on this page. Okay. Finally, we're going to take this component and we're going to use it in the main page that we were just looking at. So on that main page, once again, we saw the Cardano wallet component right here. That's this bit right here. And above that, we've got the heading, right? Mesh Next.js. So you can see that right here. Underneath the Connect Wallet button, but above the grid of other resources, let's just drop our new component in. So I'm actually just going to copy this, delete the Cardano wallet, but now add my wallet component. And if VS Code is set up well, you should be able to just see autocomplete right here, which is going to do two things. First of all, it's going to complete what I'm typing. Second of all, it's going to add a new import at the top of the page. Okay, watch lines 1 and 2 when I tap this autocomplete. All right, it just imported this component that I just built from that directory where I just built it. And if you want to be sure that you get this behavior from VS Code, just make sure to follow along with those lessons that are in Module 100, where we cover the dependencies and the extensions that you'll need in order to set up your environment. So this looks good. I can save this. And now when I jump back over to the browser, I might have to reload the page. Oh no, I don't have to reload the page. I have to start the server again. So I'm going to say yarn dev off screen. Server is running again. I'm going to refresh this page. And now I can see my wallet component. And when I connect a wallet using this button, which is a separate component, watch this. It changes, all right? Let's just watch that again just to make sure, right? So right now I'm not connected, so connected says false. But if I connect the wallet, connected changes to true. How does this work? This is all what we have in my wallet component. So we have an H2, just a heading, bigger text. This is my wallet component. That's what we see right here. And then all we're doing is we're just taking the raw data from this hook. The use wallet hook is going to return some data that looks like this: name, connecting, connected, wallet, etc. We can store that as a variable. And then we can simply print that variable to the page using the JSON stringify command. So this is not going to look like a production grade application, but at least it's going to show us that we can get this sort of information and we can start to pull it into our app. And if you got that far, you should know you're successful, right? We wanted you to be able to initialize a project like you learned about in lesson 101.1. We wanted you to be able to use this Cardano wallet component, so we took a look at that. And there's some extra notes here about how things are styled. Right now, we're still using, right, like this looks beautiful, except for this part, I guess, because I built it. But the rest of this is built by the Mesh team, okay? And so they're giving you some nice classy styles here that look pretty good right out of the box. You can customize those later, and if you're building your own application, you'll probably want to, but you can go explore how those styles work right here. As an extension, if you want to get a step ahead, you can try to build your own component, okay? So if you want to go deeper right away, we point you to some tips here, but we're also going to reiterate this point in the assignment that's coming up at the end of this module, okay? Oh, Chris, so to the point about Yarn, Yarn is just an alternative to NPM. So if you use NPM install instead of Yarn add, that you'll be using the NPM package manager instead of the Yarn package manager. And when you do, instead of having a Yarn lock file like I have right here, you'll have a package lock.json file like we had in this previous project. So in Mesh App 1, I was using NPM to demonstrate this. And right here in this other project, I'm using Yarn exactly the same way. Okay, and so you'll see it's a matter of taste. The specific differences between the two package managers are pretty minimal until you go really deep, but some people have strong preferences. And I just wanted people to see both ways.